Hi there folks, welcome back to my second video. For those who don't know, I am making a series of little videos for brand new players to the World of Warcraft, because right now, because of the experience buff, there's a lot of people coming back to the World of Warcraft. It's a great time to actually jump into it and enjoy it, but it can be quite overwhelming. That's why I've decided to make these videos. In the last video we looked a bit about picking your server and character creation, and in this video it's going to be more about looking at the heads up display, a bit about the game menu and some movement types of things. So a lot of these are just good practices just to kind of get you set up for playing the game, although it might not seem very exciting. So I completely understand if you just want to skip on to my next video, which is going to be more about the combat and the first request, and then maybe just return to this one at a later date because you know it's here and hopefully it'll have some good stuff for you. So with that being said, let's have a look at the heads up display. So depending on which race you picked to play with, your character and where you are might look a bit different, but everything else should look the same. So this is the standard setup that you get when you start the game. So on the top left hand corner you will see that you have your character frame, so it will have a picture of you, it will have your name, your level, your health bar, and then your specific resource bar that your class uses. If you were to click on something like an enemy player or a target dummy, this will give you up your targeting bar as well, which is going to show you the profile of whoever you're targeting. So it will have their level, a little picture of them, and their health bar, which is super handy. On the right hand corner you have your little mini map here and any buffs that you have at the top as well. So for example, just now we have the Winds of Wisdom buff, which is current throughout the game, but any other buffs that you had which are positive will be up here on your character as well. So in your mini map it has a little calendar, it's going to show you where you are in the world and tell you where you are as well. You are going to be able to click on this little magnifying glass to select different things that you want to track. You're going to have the time, and then you can zoom in and out on the minimap as well, which is super handy. Bottom right hand corner you have your bag bar, which if you press B you can open it up. You're not going to have anything in there just now apart from a Hearthstone, but we don't have to worry about that just yet. And then you have the game menu bar. So down here you have your character info, which we're going to look into in a different video, your spell book, quest log, achievements, collections, and then the game menu. The game menu is super important because in there is going to be loads of stuff that you might need to tweak or change. So you'd expect to find your graphic settings or your sound settings, which you might want to change depending on how you want to play the game. But also you're going to have your interface settings. Now these are really important because there's going to be a couple of quality of life things in here that are going to affect how you play the game. Have a play around with it because they're all going to be different, but the main one that I would say is really important to have a look at is just click auto loot. So basically when you click on anything it's going to pick up that loot automatically without you having to go through it all. So that is really important. Other than that, everything else like your display, if your name's above you or not, action bars, so you can bring in extra ones, which I'll probably do another video about where we'll look at that. You don't have to worry about that just now. So that's all there for you. Once you do that you just can click return to game. Now, this action bar at the bottom is how you interact with the world mainly. It's a really important one. So it's essentially your combat action bar. So this is where you're going to put all your spells and abilities and how you're going to interact with the world, which mainly is going to be fighting. But there are some other things that you can put on there, like potions, utility spells, things like that. So that is pretty much all you're going to have on your HUD just now. So we've also got a chat window down here, which is super important. So primarily this is going to be any chat that's happening within the zone that you're in, so people can yell or shout or say things that are like specific to that zone. However, if you're in a guild, your guild chat will also come up in there, or if you are getting whispered, which is essentially like a private message between players, or if you were to say something out loud. So for example, if I was going to say, it'll come up in the chat bar down the bottom left, and it'll also appear above my character because then everyone can see it that I've said it. Not only that, you've also got your combat log, which we'll look into later on. Basically it just tells you what you've done or what's happened to you. You've got a little button here which tells you your online friends, chat channels that can be changed, and then there's some emotes and things in here which are more kind of for RP purposes. A few of them you might need to complete a quest, like you might have to bow to someone or things like that, but not important just now. So that is all the basics for your heads-up display. There are things called add-ons that you can get that can change it dramatically, but you're not going to be worrying about that as a brand new player, so this is what we're going to be working with. This heads-up display is actually great in terms of how other MMOs do it, so this is very, very intuitive and very good. There are ways that we can change it and whatnot, but as it goes, as it comes, it's great and fit for purpose. So we are pretty much set to go. What I want to look at now is some movement, so how we move the camera and how we move ourselves within the world. The world is absolutely huge, and for the majority of it you're going to be hoofing it on foot, especially at the very beginning. There's no real mounts or anything like that, and you will get to some flight paths, but most of the time you're going to be walking around. So as the game will give you a standard setup, you have your W, A, S and D on your keyboard, which is just, that's going to be how you move around. Alternatively, which is a good habit to get into, is you can move with using the mouse. So if you were to click the left mouse button, that will pan around you if you move it, so that you can get a bit of perspective about where you are. Your right mouse button is for interacting with things, but if you were to click two of them together, that will automatically run you forward, which means that you can run and move about with just one hand, which is really, really handy, especially for when you start using getting into combat and things like that, because then you'll need your other hand for using your abilities. This is a really good habit to get into, which is using the mouse as opposed to the keyboard, although what I would say is at level 1, whatever you feel comfortable with is the best way to play. So once you've played around and mastered the movement, that is pretty much it, with the exception of spacebar is jump, which is quite handy for certain things. Now there's a couple of other ways that you can change things up. What I would definitely recommend is that there's no strafe built into the game, so you can change that however you want to do it yourself. I personally just use strafe on Q and E because I find that very handy, but it makes it a lot easier for moving about side to side. And also what you would want to do is, if you go into your options and go into your key bindings, you can find something called auto run. So auto run is extremely handy, and it's down here. So toggle auto run, I've got it to R, which basically means if I hit R, then my character just starts running. I currently don't have my hands on the mouse or keyboard, so that means that you can, you might want to do that and then check your phone or do whatever else it is you need to do. Just keep an eye on it though, because it'll just either run you into a wall or run you into enemies or something like that, which isn't very handy. But that is the basics of movement and for navigating yourself through this massive world. So hopefully you found some of those things useful. I know a lot of it was basic, but we're just going to go with the assumption that someone is brand new to World of Warcraft. So second video done. Thank you very much for coming and watching it. Hopefully you found some useful information in regards to either the movement or menu or things like that. I know it's not maybe the most exciting video to have, but it is definitely very, very handy, especially when you're starting out. Some of these things I wish I knew or went over the internet trying to find out when I started the game like 12 years ago. So thank you for coming to watch it. Next time there is going to be a video that is going to be a lot spicier and more involved, because it is going to be about combat and quests and all the things that actually make World of Warcraft great. So I am super excited for making that one. Anyway, I had loads of fun recording and editing this. It is a really cool thing to do, and thank you so much for everyone who has been really positive about the videos and give feedback, because I do want to keep on doing this. So thank you so much, and if you've been enjoying them, please come back and check it out, and I will have more videos up soon. Right guys, thank you very much again. See you later.